Alexander the Great. Just his name evokes images of epic battles and grand conquests. The young king from Macedon, a wild land north of Greece, dared to dream of conquering the mighty Persian Empire. By 331 BC, this dream led him to Gaugamela, a dusty plain near modern-day Iraq. There he faced his greatest challenge yet, Darius III, the King of Kings and the seemingly unstoppable Persian army. This was more than just a battle for land or power. It was a clash of civilizations, a fight between East and West. Alexander, barely out of his 20s, carried the hopes of the Greek world on his shoulders. Victory would mean glory and control over vast riches. Defeat meant certain death for him and his men, and the end of his dreams of empire. The stakes were incredibly high. The fate of the known world hung in the balance, and the outcome of this epic confrontation would determine the course of history for centuries to come. Darius III had assembled a colossal army. Ancient sources speak of 1 million men, though likely exaggerated. The Persian army was vast, diverse and formidable. Soldiers from Persia, Bactria, India and beyond answered his call. Darius placed his hopes on key advantages. His cavalry outnumbered Alexander's. War chariots with deadly scythes were the pride of the Persian army. The sheer scale aimed to overwhelm Alexander's forces. The ground trembled under their advance. The air vibrated with war drums and chanting. It was a truly awe-inspiring sight. While Darius relied on sheer size, Alexander commanded a different kind of force. His army, though smaller, was a well-oiled machine, honed to a razor's edge by years of constant campaigning. These were veterans, hardened by the battles in Greece and Persia. They were utterly loyal to Alexander, their trust in him absolute. The core of Alexander's army was his Macedonian infantry, the famed phalanx. Armed with pikes over 15 feet long, they formed a bristling wall of steel. Supporting them were the companion cavalry, Alexander's elite horsemen, and a mix of light infantry and archers. These troops were highly disciplined and trained to maneuver with incredible precision. What they lacked in numbers, they more than made up for in skill, experience, and unwavering courage. They had followed Alexander across deserts and mountains, enduring hardship and defeating every foe in their path. They were the hammer to Alexander's anvil, ready to strike down any enemy, no matter how large or fearsome. The tension on the eve of battle was palpable. Both armies camped within sight of each other, the vastness of the Persian camp a stark contrast to the smaller, more compact Macedonian lines. The air crackled with anticipation, the silence broken only by the occasional neigh of a horse or the clang of armor. Alexander, ever the bold commander, chose to fight in daylight, a gamble that gave up the element of surprise. He needed a clear battlefield for his troops to maneuver effectively. He had faith in his men and believed in his own destiny. The coming dawn would see the greatest battle of his life. Section 5. The battle joined. The Persian attack began at dawn. Like a wave crashing against a cliff, the Persian cavalry slammed into Alexander's lines. The air was filled with the thunder of hooves, the clash of steel, and the screams of dying men. The scythed chariots, a terrifying spectacle, raced forward, aiming to break the Macedonian ranks. But Alexander was ready. He had anticipated this tactic. His disciplined infantry stood firm, their shields interlocked, their long pikes a forest of death. They parted to allow the chariots through, then attacked their flanks, spearing the horses and cutting down the charioteers. The Persians, expecting a rout, were met with fierce resistance. Alexander, a whirlwind of energy, rallied his men, his voice hoarse from shouting commands. The battle raged for hours, a chaotic whirlwind of blood and steel. Both sides fought with incredible ferocity, driven by the knowledge that defeat meant certain death. But Alexander had a plan, and he was waiting for the right moment to unleash it. Section 6. The Hammer Blow. Seeing an opportunity, Alexander launched his decisive maneuver. He had noticed a gap opening in the Persian lines, a weakness he could exploit. With his companion cavalry at his side, he led a thunderous charge, straight at the heart of the Persian army, aiming directly for Darius himself. It was a risky gamble, leaving his own center vulnerable to attack. But Alexander was gambling on the element of surprise and the demoralizing effect of a direct assault on the Persian king. He was a born leader, inspiring his men by example, always at the forefront of battle, his courage infectious. The charge caught the Persians off guard. Alexander's companions smashed through their lines, scattering the Persian cavalry like chaff before the wind. The sight of their king under attack caused panic in the Persian ranks. Section 7. Victory and Legacy. Darius, fearing for his life, fled the battlefield. His flight shattered the morale of the Persian army. Seeing their king abandon them, they lost their will to fight. What began as an orderly retreat soon descended into a chaotic rout. The Macedonians, energized by their victory, hunted down the fleeing Persians, cutting them down by the thousands. The Battle of Gaugamela was a stunning victory for Alexander. Against overwhelming odds, he had outmaneuvered and outfought one of the largest armies ever assembled. The victory broke the back of the Persian Empire. Darius III was later murdered by his own men, leaving Alexander the undisputed master of Persia. Gaugamela was a turning point in history. It marked the end of the Persian Empire and the beginning of Alexander's short-lived but impactful empire. It ushered in the Hellenistic Age, a period of Greek cultural influence that spread across the Middle East and beyond. Section 8. The mark of a leader. Alexander's victory at Gaugamela was more than just a military triumph. It was a testament to his leadership, his strategic brilliance, and his understanding of human psychology. He knew how to inspire his men, how to exploit his enemy's weaknesses, and how to seize the moment when it presented itself. But Alexander's victory was also a testament to the courage and skill of his soldiers. They trusted him implicitly, and he in turn cared deeply for their well-being. He led from the front, sharing their dangers and celebrating their victories. He mourned their losses as if they were his own kin. Alexander the Great died young, worn out by years of campaigning. He left behind a legacy as one of the greatest military commanders in history. His empire may have been short-lived, but his legend lived on, inspiring generations of conquerors and dreamers alike. And the Battle of Gaugamela stands as a timeless example of how courage, brilliance, and determination can overcome even the most daunting odds.